Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about the order of a flip project. And this is pretty much if you're going to flip to sell or flip to rent, what to do first, next, and last that can avoid costly mistakes. So since if you follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, any of the Facebook, any of the places, my website, you know that we are, at the time that I'm recording this, we are in our 9th flip. We just bought our 10th one, but the tenants are staying in it. So we are not going to do, they just sign on for another year. So we are not going to be doing, any work in that one. But we are currently, as I'm recording this, working on our 9th. And we're kind of getting to the point where we are waiting for some contractors and things to do some things before we can finish things. And mine is going to look a little different. So sometimes I partner with brands and companies for different projects. And so that looks a little different for us. And that is why we have a little bit of downtime just with contracts and things like that. And so, but it's such a good example. I got some questions about flipping, and then we're in this lull right now. There's a couple of small things we can do, but we're already like bringing tools and stuff back home. Like we are kind of to that end point. So I thought this would be a good podcast and a good topic. I know people are asking about it. People are interested. So I thought maybe this could help you. If you start a flip, and when I say flip, just so you know, that's flipping it to rent or flipping it to sell. When we are going to rent our properties, we are not going to leave them in bad shape. We want to make them over. We want to make them look nice because we want to get the best renters in our places. So there are people that have different opinions about that. And knowing that right from the start, if you're flipping to sell or flipping to rent, that's a big deciding factor on what you're going to do and what I'm going to talk about today. But our goal is to get the best renters in these places. So we want to, within a tight budget, get the places looking the best they can and do the upgrades and the changes or whatever that they need, right? So we are not going to, and some people, even in my personal life, will say, no, you don't need to do that. Just leave it. Like, I want people coming and staying in our or in our houses that are going to take care of it, that see that we put a lot of effort into it and what we expect the house to look like when they're done with it. So it's just, that's the way we do it. And that's the way it's going to be for us. So anyway, the number one thing is when you're doing these projects is you want to know if you're going to flip it to sell or flip it to rent. Your decisions throughout that project are going to be based on that, if that makes sense. Because like one example, and my past podcasts, you can look back through them. I have gone through different aspects of this topic, so you can definitely find more podcasts about this. But you definitely, like, let's say instead of cleaning the carpet, you might want to get new carpet if you're selling it. But whereas you're renting it, if it's in really good condition, like the house we're doing right now, it's in great condition. It's Berber carpet. And we didn't need to get new carpet because we are going to rent it. But maybe if we sold it, I might have decided to get new carpet. But it was a $200 to $2,500-ish budget difference. And so we did other things that were more important. Again, I talked all about that on another podcast that just made more sense, like adding a whole nother bathroom. So you definitely want to know, are you flipping to sell, flipping to rent? And then there's this whole other thing. I guess I sometimes do this. I have my notes in front of me, but there's this whole other thing, Matt and I have been going back and forth with this because we are and have been looking for a house to move into. We are looking for that perfect place. Isn't everybody? But, if we had to sell, let's just say like this one, we are getting it to a point where we could sell it the way it is and still make a really good profit. So if it came to that and we had, maybe we rented it out for a year and then we wanted to sell it, there's not much more that we're going to have to do really. Besides, if we decide to get new carpet, or obviously if the renters do something horrible, but we're just kind of getting it to a point where maybe to set us up for not having to do a ton of work again, if that makes sense. We always challenge ourselves with these house projects to stay within a tight budget. I have done, I think many podcasts about, setting your budget, but let's just say your budget is $20,000 for the house. And that's a padded budget. We always pad it because you will come up with unexpected things in every house we have. But then it's like, I want to challenge us to maybe do it for $15,000 or, $16,000. If we could come way under, like that's always a challenge and something that I thrive on because I'm always, how can we do this cheaper, or how can we do this, in a different way? Or maybe, I'm always looking for ways to cut the budget, if that makes sense. So if you start a flip without a plan, you're going to waste money, time, and you're just going to be completely frustrated. So number one, before I even get into okay, now you've bought the house. When you are looking at properties to flip to sell, flip to rent, you better know before you even put that offer in what that house is going to need. So if you have to pay for your own inspection, all the houses that we have bought have been bought as is. And when my dad was able to, he would come through all the houses with us and say, this needs it, this doesn't, this is okay, this is not. And these last few we've had to do on our own, which is, scary, but I'm really proud of what Matt and I have been able to do on our own without my dad's help. He is now, if you don't know, in a nursing home with dementia, and it is the worst. I should do a whole podcast episode about that because it is the worst thing that I have ever been through, and I would never wish this on anybody. And I wish somebody could have walked me through this before we were thrown into this. And just, just to hear somebody else's experience. I do have a close friend that has gone through that, so she's amazing. But maybe I'll do a podcast episode about that experience. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. But anyway, so you definitely, before you even put in the offer, have a rough idea about what it's going to cost, what the house is going to need. As soon as you get in that house, turn the key, and you start, let's just say, tearing up carpet or whatever, you are going to add to that list, or you're going to subtract from that list. But that initial list, before you even buy it, is going to be your guiding point until you're really in the house and know what it, needs as you start tearing things apart. So number one, you need to plan before you ever swing a hammer. So that's what I'm kind of saying. You've got that initial list, but now you're in the house, you're walking around. Walk through it without, don't do any work. Just walk through it with a notebook and and list everything that needs to be done that you can kind of see and right? Let's just refresh that list that you made before you bought the house, and let's just go through it again. Start with a blank page. Now you're actually in it. You can feel the walls or whatever. You can feel the cabinets. You can actually, you know what I mean? Like now you're in it. So let's make a whole nother list. And now is when you're going to decide what you will hire out and what you can DIY. Matt and I will DIY everything that we can. And if we're hiring out, we will DIY whatever we can do before that person has to come in and do any work. Meaning, we will demo whatever it is. I'm not going to pay you to come in and demo something I can do. We will, we were going to have some concrete done. And I said to the concrete guy, hey, to save on costs, we will move all these pavers. Like we will have it all prepped or whatever. For like new carpet or getting the hardwood floors done, we will demo, we will take out all the carpet, all the tack strips, all the staples. I'm not paying you to do that. I'm going to cut my costs. So your cost to me is going to be cheaper because we're going to do all that for you. Those kinds of things. So not everybody's going to be that way, but that's one way that we can stay within that tight budget. So definitely if that's something, DIY whatever you can and then hire out what you can't. Painting, removing old fixtures, landscaping, like all of that you can do yourself. But what you're not comfortable with, you definitely need to hire out. Get quotes and estimates early for the work you aren't doing. Don't wait until you're halfway through. Start getting those people in the house to give you quotes and get a few quotes. Ask your family and friends for recommendations. And if you continue to do this, you're going to have your list of plumbers, electricians, concrete people, floor people. Like, you're going to start making your own list. But definitely you want to start getting those people in right away, because you have to account for the schedules of those people and lead times for things that you need to order, right? So let's say you're getting new windows. Well, windows are custom, usually. There are some that you can buy, in the store if it's the right size, but otherwise you're ordering them. And if you're having somebody do the windows, or if you're putting in new windows, to order them custom size, it takes weeks. Kitchen cabinets, custom items, it's weeks to months of waiting for those things to come in. So if you don't get on that right away, your project can come to a screeching halt, which is what we are kind of at right now. But again, mine looks a little different because of other things that we're working with, which is fine. But if you're not, and if that wasn't the deal, we would have had this all scheduled out way earlier and had that done. So just while you're waiting for all that to get done, you have the contractors in there, things are getting ordered, then you can start doing everything that you can DIY yourself, right? And there may be things like you need to then schedule for, okay, I'm having somebody come in and put in new windows, but I need to remove all these tiles around the shower before they can come in. Well, you can get that done. Or I'm having somebody come in and, put in new windows. I need to paint this trim where the window's going to sit beforehand. So you can get that done. Somebody's coming in to paint the tub. Well, we wanted to make sure all the tile was painted before they came in and did the tub. Like, there's just certain things that you want to have done and ready before those guys come in. So you can start working on those things. So for everything that we have done, every house that we have done, we are not doing huge demos where we're knocking out walls or structural issues. That's kind of your step 2. So you want to knock out anything that requires walls or floors to be open. So that's your structural fixes, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, right? So, if you can demo the work yourself, this is when you would do it. Okay, you need the electrician to come in and do whatever, but you need to remove, whatever it is, this wall or whatever, for him to get up there. So you remove the old cabinets, or the wall before he can come in. But for us, we have not done any projects where we are taking out big walls or anything. And again, this all starts when you're going to tour a house. You need to know what the house needs and what the budget is and what you can buy the house for, and then what it's worth in the end. And that's if you're flipping or renting. I would tell anybody, even if you're renting it out, someday you're going to want to sell it. So what is it worth? And I know it fluctuates a little bit, but what is a good amount that this house is worth in the end? Because let's say you rent it for 5 years, great. In the end, you're going to sell it. And it's so important to get good renters in there so your house isn't ruined. And again, I've done tons of podcasts about all of that, but you do want to know, renting or flipping, what it's worth in the end. And so you have to have all those numbers and all those projects known before you're even buying it. I'm taking a quick break from the episode to share some exciting news with you. If you have ever wanted to flip furniture for extra cash, a creative outlet, or to build a business but didn't know where to start, there's never been a better time. My Furniture Flipping Academy is now just $79, which is over $200 off the original price. Inside, you'll learn how to find amazing pieces on a budget or for free, how to transform them step by step, sanding, painting, staging, all the things, how to price and sell for real profit, and even know how to work with brands to grow your flipping business in more ways than you know. And that's just the start. There is so much more waiting for you inside the Academy. We have so much packed inside the Academy. It's completely self-paced. Once you buy it, it's yours for life. There are no deadlines. There's no pressure. We do have a sneak peek inside the link in the show notes. It will give you a glimpse inside the Academy. And here's the truth. Nothing changes unless you do. You can keep waiting for the right time, or you can take this step now. At $79, the price isn't holding you back anymore. So stop hesitating. Stop making excuses. Click the link and get started today. So the next thing would be like electricians, plumbers, and HVAC pros. They come in and do the rough in work. If you're doing smaller things like adding insulation or patching drywall yourself, this is when that happens. And again, having those people scheduled ahead of time. And it doesn't matter if you're working with big companies or like a guy that has a plumbing business, on the side. It's weeks sometimes. Most of the time. I shouldn't say sometimes. It is weeks that they are out. So you have to get this stuff done and ordered so you're not just sitting around. So now, in between when I'm waiting for, stuff to be ordered, then we are just doing everything that we can on our own. So that's the painting. That's the, if we have to refresh some trim, if we have to, painting the ceilings, updating light fixtures. We bought this house and it was full of stuff. So just cleaning the house out took forever. Things like cleaning the house, the outside, power washing. We had a ton of landscaping to do at this house. Like all of those things are happening while everything else is getting ordered or, you're waiting for the other people to come. All that kind of stuff, anything you can DIY, that's what you're doing right now. And then, they come in and they do all their work. So whatever, if they're coming in to do, like in this house, we're getting a new kitchen. They're coming to install that. We are getting all new windows. Window World is coming to do all that. So right now, I've been doing a lot of cleaning up. There's still a lot of dust in the house, and I'm trying not to do like a final cleaning because I know when the windows get redone and the kitchen gets put in, there's going to be a lot of dust again. But I'm just kind of doing little touch-up paints, refreshing the woodwork that I can, and just doing those little things now and then. And then obviously keeping up with the yard. We're trying to grow grass, those kinds of things. Watering all the new plants that we put in there, all of those things. That's what we're working on right now. Inside the garage, cleaning all that out, just stuff like that. So when they are ready, and then it's also doing things like, okay, they're installing the new kitchen, but I have to have the sink here, the faucet here. I have to have the new stove here, the vent hood for the above the stove, like all of that needs to be there. I want it all there for when the kitchen guys come. And so it's doing a lot of that now too. Okay, let's go pick out the stove. Let's go pick out the vent hood. Let's go pick out the whatever. Oh, and it's a dishwasher. We're adding a dishwasher to this house. It never had one. So just having all of those things there so that when that work gets done, it's all there and ready to go and to be put in. And then it's setting up so the cabinets are getting put in and all of that and the countertops, but then you need the plumber to come in to hook up all the, the plumbing, the new dishwasher, the sink, the faucet, and all of that. So it's like, working with a lot of scheduling now to make sure that everybody's kind of comes together and that it all just is done if you're hiring it out. And then it's just your final details, your landscaping, make sure it looks good, exterior touch-ups, and then a deep cleaning, right? All the windows are put in, everything's in, nobody else is coming into dust. And one thing that I'm finding this time, I don't know what it is, but there was a certain people that came to do one of the projects, and I swear, I don't know, they didn't look like they were full of dirt, but they touched every wall in the house with their hands, like black handprints everywhere, and their feet. It's like, I don't know, be mindful of that because I've had to go around now and clean and everything that they touch, like literally going through the entire house from upstairs to downstairs. I'm like, what in the world did they do here? So it's just a lot of that stuff. And when you have other people, working for you, that happens. And some people take pride in cleaning up after themselves, and you will find that some of the workers don't. So, and then staging may be a part of it if you are flipping to sell. All of our houses, thankfully, we have never had to stage. They were sold before we actually got them done when we were flipping to sell them. So that was a huge bonus. But I think it would be super fun to stage a whole house for, to sell. And we may have to do that someday. But anyway, so that's kind of how it goes for a flip. And basically The biggest thing here is knowing, even before you buy it, even before you put an offer in, is knowing your numbers. I've said that in so many different podcasts, but that is number one. And then number two, if you buy it, it's getting everything scheduled and ordered pretty much ASAP. So that, let's say it's a 4 to 6 week, timeline that the windows are going to come in, whatever it is. You have 4 to 6 weeks then to bust your butts and get all the stuff done that you can, while all those other things, kitchens, windows, whatever else you're, doing or that needs to be hired out or ordered is getting ordered. So you have everything else done. It's kind of fun too, because then it gives you kind of a timeline. One of the biggest questions that people always ask me when we get one is, what's your timeline? And I always say it's 3 to 4 months. And every single house we've done, it's been 3 to 4 months. And this one is going to be right on that mark. As long as the windows get in and the kitchen gets in, we will be good to go. But having that extra little, okay, I have the guy that's coming to paint the tub is coming in 2 weeks. I have to get, A, B, C, and D done in 2 weeks. I have the kitchen is going to be installed in a month. I have a month to get A, B, C, D done, right? So it's kind of like breaking that 3 to 4 month timeline, or maybe it's 6 months for you, down into bite-sized chunks. Because if you're somebody that gets easily sidetracked, or you're outside working on something you don't really need to get done, but the tub guy's coming in a week, like you have to get these other things done, right? So it kind of it compartmentalizes all of those things into smaller bite-sized chunks. So then you can keep moving forward and make sure that you're getting the project, done on time and on schedule with everybody else you have scheduled. So that is pretty much it for this podcast. Flipping houses, it's not just about picking pretty finishes. And so many people think that's what it is. Oh, I get to pick out, new light fixtures and paint colors. And to be completely honest, I love all that. Like I love doing that in our home, but that is such in the grand scheme of things, that is such like a 3% of it all. It's about timing and planning and how is this kitchen gonna function better. And this has been, like the house that we are working on now, it's been not touched since it was built in 1966. So, it's never had a dishwasher. The original vanity was so short and tiny. Like there's just things like that are just so much more important. There wasn't a second bathroom in it, so we added that. Just, picking out the pretty finishes is such a small amount of what you're doing, a small part of what you're doing in the grand scheme of things. So definitely know that, right? And one of the biggest mistakes that, new flippers or people just coming in is you're not thinking ahead about schedules, orders, and then what you can do yourself and what you need to hire out. Again, know your numbers when you go in, schedule your professionals, early, your contractor early, and tackle what you can in between, so that you keep the project moving and the budget is in check. So anyway, if you found this helpful today, this podcast, I would love if you shared the podcast. I'd love if you would take a minute just to rate and review the podcast, no matter where you're listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else. Your support truly helps us. It not only helps more people find the show, but it also lets me know what kind of content you're loving. So if you have a second, tap the stars, leave a quick review, and know that I appreciate every single one. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you next time. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.